is MC of Healthy by George. I come to you every Sunday and Thursday. And on Sundays, I like to talk about my weight loss journey using the drug called tirzepatide, which is a GLP-1 GIP inhibitor drug. And I've been taking it now a little over a year and a half. And what's interesting is most recently a study came out that looked at a very small group of women who were postmenopausal. Some of those were taking a hormone therapy and some were not. And what was interesting is those patients who were receiving a GLP-1 drug plus hormone replacement therapy, they lost weight equivalent to those who are doing the studies that are younger than 65 or who were not postmenopausal or menopausal or perimenopausal. So clearly, there is some issue around hormones and weight gain when we approach menopause. This is a very common that 70% of women have changes in their body when they go through menopause. Some of it is the cardio metabolic problem. They need a lot more efforts to really maintain or control their weight as we are aging. It is a concern, and it's a concern for me because guess what? I'm postmenopausal. I just had a hysterectomy in October, and so menopause is here. And truly, the fatigue is profound, and it's also unexpected. That's the other thing. So, if you like what I'm doing here on this channel and you enjoy having these discussions, please think about subscribing. I would love for you to be here for me and to help me gain more traction on this channel because this is what I love doing is sharing information that I find helpful. And I'm hoping you find it helpful too. Getting back to menopause and the GLP-1 drugs. That's what's so remarkable is that we have seen that this is a challenge most women face is that they start to gain weight around their bellies. And true that we have some hormonal protection when we have estrogen, that our fat doesn't really accumulate around our bellies. It's more about something that is about our maybe more our buttocks and our thighs or our hips. But when we go through menopause, all of a sudden, we as women are struggling with the belly more than ever before. So there's been all this issue about hormone replacement because back in the early 2000s, there was this study that saw that there were risks related to, or maybe it was a study done before the 2000s. It was a large study of nurses. And frankly, this was before we had what we call hormone equivalent drugs. And now I think we're understanding more and more about how hormone replacement when you are in menopause can be a tremendous benefit. But I think there still is this lurking feeling amongst physicians and patients too that somehow taking a low dose hormone replacement, which they call HRT, hormone replacement therapy, that somehow it's going to be detrimental. Somehow it's going to increase our risk for heart disease or some other perceived risks that I don't think if you're doing a low dose hormone equivalent replacement therapy that's not a hormone developed from cows or other animals, but it's something that is equivalent to what we normally would have. It has more bioavailability, that this can be something that is used appropriately and at the right doses. We know more now. And so the risks, I think, are now being seen as much lower and that we shouldn't avoid seeking out hormone replacement therapy if we feel it will give us some benefit. One is, I think for me, I'm going to be discussing this with my doctor, is how do I avoid this severe fatigue? I'm telling you, this fatigue from being postmenopausal is phenomenal. And it comes on all of a sudden, like you crash. There's no hint that you're going to have a sudden crash. You just all of a sudden literally crash. I feel like my mind stops, my body stops, and everything says, please lie down. I've never had this happen. Please lie down, take a nap, go to bed. I have never, ever in my life had this kind of fatigue ever. I think I'm well enough past recovering from my surgery in October to know that this is not just recovering from surgery. This is about really having a postmenopausal, this fatigue that is just, it's impressive. So I think if there's many ways that we can help ourselves, whether it's combining hormone therapy with a GLP-1 drug to maximize our benefit in weight loss so that we prevent that belly fat that kind of really, it takes away our curviness as a woman. And I think many of us as women, we lose our waistline as we get older and we're like, where's this belly coming from? So I think that this is a wonderful small study that indicates that there's a synergy. Now, granted, they need to do a larger study to understand, is this a real synergy or is it just something happenstance that was seen? Because wouldn't that be a tremendous thing to do as a woman going through menopause, gaining weight, that you could be on a low dose hormone therapy plus a GLP-1 drug and really stop that gain, a weight gain immediately. And you would get something successful and you'd feel motivated and you'd feel like you're maintaining the sense of who you are as you get older. Just because you've gone through menopause doesn't mean that so many things need to change dramatically. So I feel for us as we get older. And how do we help ourselves effectively keep losing weight, keep our bodies in a position that gives us optimal health as we get older, stronger, and it doesn't make us feel a sense of just fatigue. So I think there is some interaction that's yet to be understood between GLP-1 drugs and hormone therapy. And it seems to be something that we need to investigate and do more research on because seriously, this struggle that we have as we get older as women is truly, it's huge. Not only does it number on your brain because you're changing from this state of being a woman who was going through her life just in a hormonal kind of cycle that was a monthly cycle to suddenly having to put the brakes on because now you're in full perimenopause or menopause and your hormones are just out of whack. Everything is going upside down. And it's like you have mental fog, you have this fatigue, you have this night sweats, you have the sleeplessness. So a lot more has to be done in the research field for us women to understand these issues around our menopausal health. We need to know more about how we can help ourselves. And if there's some synergy between a GLP-1 drug and a low dose hormone replacement therapy, hey, listen, I'm all for that. I'm going to see my OBGYN to see how I could get on a low dose hormone replacement therapy because of the fatigue. And wouldn't it be nice to see how it synergistically helps me as I continue to lose my weight? So I think that's something I'm going to work towards. So, how are you dealing with your menopausal symptoms or perimenopausal symptoms? Or if you're someone younger, how has your mother or your aunts talked to you about their menopause experience? I know for me, my mother never said a word, nothing. It never came up. She never discussed it. I think once we came up with some small thing that she was on some hormone replacement therapy, but there was no discussion about any kind of anything, any symptoms, anything. It was tremendously like a deep, dark secret. Let's all open this discussion about menopause. Let's all help ourselves by sharing our stories about how we are dealing with either perimenopause or menopause, or sharing with younger women how to embrace this process of getting older and how our hormones, they fluctuate. And I think even for me, I felt like my hormones were different when I was 20, and then different when I was 30, and then different when I was 40. So we should all have discussions about this because every person's experience is unique. But wouldn't it be nice to hear other people's stories and understand that there's some commonality amongst us, that we all are working towards figuring out what works for each of us? And maybe I know there's some women who've talked about eating watermelon and okra And I have another person who was talking about eating soursop. And so I'm trying to get some access to that and how those things have helped them as far as a nutritional approach. So let's all help ourselves by sharing what we're trying out and what seems to be working, because that's really what's going to help us get older and do it with grace and wisdom and energy and the ability to keep strong and functioning into our much older age. So let's be well for each other. Let's try to be intentional for all of the things that we are seeking to achieve because we have this one precious life. Let's live it intentionally so that we can be as strong as we want as we get older and keep functioning until we have to go into the great divine. Be well, my friends, and join me here every Sunday and Thursday. And think about subscribing. I'd love to see you here. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.